Very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is 25th June 2026. It's a Thursday class, so we'll be continuing our sharing from this book, the Heart Sutra, second edition. Okay, as usual, we will have our Puja chanting. Let us compose our mind, develop the faith, Saddha, Virya. Then mindfully we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无弥勒佛，南无弥勒佛，南无弥勒佛，南无药师佛，南无药师佛，南无药师佛，南无文殊菩萨，南无文殊菩萨，南无文殊菩萨。南无普贤菩萨，南无普贤菩萨，南无普贤菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨，南无地藏王菩萨，南无准提菩萨，南无准提菩萨，南无准提菩萨，南无佛菩萨，南无佛菩萨。นะโม佛พุทธะอะระหังสัมมาสัมพุทโธภะคะวาพุทธังภะคะวันตังอะภิวาเทมิสวากาโตภะคะวะตาธัมโมธัมมังนัมมัสสามิสุปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสังฆังนามามินะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะบุตตังสรณังกัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิดุติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังกัจฉามิตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังกัจฉามิปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิอาดินาดานาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิกาเมสุมิจฉาจาราเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิมุสาวาทาเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิสุราเมรยามัจจาปมาดัฏฐานะเวรมณีสิกขาปะทังสมาธิยามิสาธุสาธุสาธุ Okay, let's pay respect to Puja. บุตตังพุเจมิธัมมังพุเจมิสังฆังพุเจมิ So this awareness-based meditation is useful, in fact very important. It is to train our mind to develop the stability or inner mindfulness or inner awareness so that we can be ever mindful. Then from there, use it to meditate to develop heedfulness. So heedfulness has two parts. One is to train our mind to be mindful or aware, and stabilize it to be ever mindful. Then use it to observe and meditate, or to insight into phenomena, to realize their universal characteristics of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Then when you are able to have these two qualities, ever mindful, constantly meditative, that is heedfulness. That's why to develop it, we need to understand how it can be developed. There are two ways. The easiest way is, of course, the four support that I have taught you all. First support is very direct and fairly easy. Is to relax body and mind, complete relaxation, so that you are at ease. There is no tension, no stress, or no worry or anxiety, nothing. The body and mind is completely relaxed and at ease. Then after that is to silence everything, so that there is no thinking, no verbalization, no chattering of mind. The mind is completely quiet and still. To do that, you only need to maintain awareness or maintain the silence within the silent mind, so that you don't think, so that the heedless thinking does not arise. Then after that, you continue to just let things be. Don't try to know, don't try to do anything. Where the knowing and the doing is always by the thought. When the thought is active, you cannot be mindful. The understanding is the moment you are without thought, the mindfulness or awareness is already there. Whereas our true mind, our pure awareness nature, is originally tranquil and still without thought. The moment thought arises, it oscillates into the mundane thinking, or we call it the mundane manifestation of mind. That's why the Buddha called it the mundane mind. And this mind is a forerunner of all things. When this mind arises, all the aggregates of mind arise. All the manifestation, the phenomenal world, condition arising world, they manifest and arise. They arise through consciousness. We are a conscious being, capable of become conscious. Conscious of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we tactily feel and think. So these are the 6 sense bases. And our consciousness is trapped within our physical body that has these 6 sense bases. So upon contact of consciousness with the respective sense bases and their respective sense data, it will trigger off the respective sense of consciousness. That's why as a human being, we are capable of becoming conscious. So we call it a conscious being. The human being or the living being is a conscious being. And through consciousness, we can become conscious of the world. That's how we know the world and how we interact with the world. Then how through observing this movement, we develop understanding of who we are, what we are, and how we function as a human being. And that is the most important. So when you silence your mind, you can silently observe. So the choiceless silent awareness of what is the reality is meditation. When you can do that, you can see things as they are, not through your belief system, views, opinion, conditioning, etc. It is through the direct seeing, direct observation of what this present moment movement is all about. And through this, you can see how you stir your mind, react to sense experience, how you are conditioned into various emotion, mind states, and how you entangle yourself with the phenomenal world via delusion, lack of understanding. So mindfulness is very important. Awareness is very important. That's why the first two support is just relax, maintain awareness. So when you relax, you don't think. When you maintain awareness, you also don't think. You just aware. Whatever arises, it has to be from the sixth sense basis. Then when you silently observe, you understand how the interplay, the movement. Why the Buddha say our mind follow the 12 links of Paticcasamuppada. Why is called a dependent originating phenomena. Yeah. So all these phenomena that arise due to causes and conditions, they follow this law, the 12 links, Paticcasamuppada. Then within this movement, we introduce what we call the moral causation, means content of consciousness that carry with it all the content that may be wholesome or unwholesome. That's how karmic arise, the karmic movement, or we call it the karmic entanglement come to be. So the moral causation is due to our mental intention that we input within the content of consciousness and trigger off the arising of thought. Without the content, it's just pure awareness. But when the content go in, it becomes a thought, the second aspect of the five mental aggregates of form. Amen. Then the third support is stabilizing that awareness within. So relax body and mind, first support. Maintaining awareness, second support. Stabilizing the awareness is the third support. Continue to allow this awareness that arise and pass away to stabilize. Once it's stabilized, then you are in a meditative state, means a free mind without thought naturally manifests. And when you can do that, that is the beginning of real meditation. Unless your first three support are stabilized, you cannot be mindful in a free mind state. The mind that thinks a lot or wander off heedlessly through our sense door manifestation and contact and stirring of the mind and conditioning. All this, if you silently observe, you can see, then you can develop the understanding of who you are, what you are, and how you function as a human being. And why the Buddha said, despite aggregate of form and mind, Rupa Vedana Sanya Sankhara Vijnana, they are impermanent. They have the universal characteristics of impermanence. Then if you try to cling onto it, hold on to it, and want things your way, which is not in accordance with nature's movement, then suffering will be the outcome. That's why when you cannot get what you want may not be allowed by the nature's law. So craving is a result of wanting, desiring. So not able to get what one desire leads to suffering. That's why the ability to see things as they are and accept the reality of the moment is wisdom. That's why the Buddha said, whatever arises, there are causes and conditions behind. So if the causes and conditions are already set, the movement will move in that direction. Cannot be otherwise. That's why we have to come to terms with the reality of the moment. What is? What is? You cannot fight it, argue with it, or resist it. What is the condition that is already set within the moment. So when you understand all this, then you understand the deep meaning of what the Buddha meant when he told the disciple, whatever arises within our conditioned world, there are causes and conditions behind. And these causes and conditions he has taught us and explained to us in many areas under his essential Dhamma teaching. Mainly is karmic. The 5 daily contemplation, the last one. We are all born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned, supported by our karma. We are what we are because of our karma. So that's why the causes and conditions has a lot to do with our karmic past. So when you understand all this, you will know the importance of mindfulness, awareness, to let you understand, to allow you to see things as they are, insight into phenomena, to awaken to the 3 universal characteristics, and to arise the wisdom via the direct seeing. And when you observe, you understand who you are, what you are, and how you function as a human being, how you stir your mind, how you become angry, violent, how you entangle yourself to develop the unnecessary fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow and lamentation, phobia, etc. All this can be understood through silent observation of what is. Then after that, once you can stabilize the first 3 support, means you are ever mindful most of the time within the moment, without thought. When you have that stability of daily mindfulness or a free mind without thought, then you can move on to the 4th support to cultivate the higher teaching, or we call it the supreme vehicle cultivation, the Bodhisattva way, to realize our true nature, to locate the gateway and go in through our 4th support. We call it trust, T-R-U-S-T, complete trust, no interference from the thought, trusting the pure awareness nature, our true mind, to develop the movement by itself. So when you stay at the heart area, and because you have the stability of awareness, then this mind will detect and move on its own. Then it can locate the gateway to our nature. When the gateway is been located, it's very beautiful. There is a very soothing movement that will take place. All your external yin-yang energy, they will melt through the gateway to become pure energy. That is the beginning of the internal movement, awareness-based meditation. And the internal movement can lead to great awakening. It can transform our inner, what they call, nerve centers, the pure energy that arises. It can activate and actually transform the internal chakras and nadis so that they become more and more refined, more and more fine. Then it will lead to the cultivator's ability to finally activate all those that need to be activated until that pure awareness nature, the Bodhi mind, can illuminate our Buddha nature or true nature within. And that process takes a long time. That's why the cultivation takes a long time. Then you will develop the higher wisdom needed to move on to the fourth stage of Bodhi mind development, which is Bodhi mind that understands what samsara is and can renounce samsara. Once you can reach that stage, means you are already secure. You will not fall back. So this Bodhi mind development is very unique, very important, very beautiful. So the cultivation, unless you do it, you cannot understand. But for those who do the sainthood way, you don't have to go through the whole thing. The first three support is good enough. Okay, now I will set the alarm for 30 minutes so that you can develop the pure awareness-based meditation on your own. Just remember the first three support, do it well, stabilize it, then only move to the fourth support. Fourth support is very easy when you understand, but you have to stabilize the first three, otherwise you don't attempt. It will not benefit you at all. Unless the first three support are very stable, very well cultivated, you should not try to go into the fourth support, which is trust. The fourth support can only be developed once the first three support are very stable. Then you silence everything. Just allow your awareness to reside around your heart area. Then silence everything. Just allow the awareness nature to detect whatever movement or vibration or even your heartbeat around your heart area. Whatever phenomena that arise, your awareness can pick it up. It will be one with it. Then when you can have that stability of mindfulness or awareness, then a lot of things will happen. Then the whole movement, the pure awareness nature's movement that lead to the understanding can actually take off and manifest. Okay, now I will let you meditate on your own. Now you all can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in their entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalisu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakamokkadang Dhammasvadan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvadan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvadan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti peso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro purisa dhammasarti satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati Swakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko Ehipaseko opanayiko Pacatang veditadbo Vinohiti Supatipano bhagavato sāvaka Ujupatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Nyayapatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Samicipatipano bhagavato sāvaka sangho Yadidang catari purisa yukhani atta purisa pugala Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakhineyo anjali karaneyo Anuttarang punyang ketang lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, now we'll continue from where we stopped. We are at page 247, item 6.6. There are 5 ways to overcome unwholesome thought or negativity of mental states. So, these 5 ways to overcome unwholesome thoughts or negative mind state within our mind is very important. They are taught by the Buddha. So these 5 ways, they are as described below. The first and the second way, they are mainly thought-based approach, but these are also useful. It's a form of contemplation using the thought to develop the understanding. So whenever you develop the awareness to be aware that the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion are there, because they are root of all evil, make you evil. So when there is these 3 evil roots, or what we call the 3 poison within the mind, it can cause unwholesomeness within the mind state. That's why within the moral causation, whenever you arise a thought, whether it's moral or immoral, depend on your understanding or wisdom behind. If you lack wisdom or understanding, then you will definitely carry within your content of consciousness or the mental intention any of these three words or a combination of them. And the most common one is Sakkaya Ditthi, self-delusion. That Sakkaya Ditthi is always there before one becomes enlightened. Because there is this wrong view with regards to the Atta, the self. We believe this so-called human being of ours, or form a mind of ours. For our case, we are born human. That's why we have this 5 aggregate of form and mind. The first aspect as a human being. We have a physical body. Then within it there is a consciousness trapped inside. So the physical body is the first of the aggregates of form. Then the mind has 4 more aggregates. And to understand that is very easy. You just inquire, what can your mind do? Basically, your mind can arise the feeling, the sensation. So the first aggregate of mind is Vedana, feeling or sensation. When it's pure feeling, is that Vedana. But when it has become a sensation, then it has oscillated or stirred and become like and dislike, or pleasant and unpleasant sense experience. Then what else can our mind do apart from feeling? If you're really aware, silent, you realize the mind can also perceive whatever that arises within our sixth sense door. Through our seeing consciousness, we can perceive color, shape and form, the sense data. Then through the hearing, you can perceive sound, vibration, noise, polluted vibration, or sharp pitch, or music, soothing vibration, voices, music, or nature's vibration. All this is quality of mind can perceive. Not only what you see, what you hear, you can also perceive what you smell through your senses. Then through your taste bud, you can also perceive what that sense experience is. Then through our tactile surface, we can also perceive the tactile consciousness that arises, whether it's pleasant sensation or unpleasant sensation, then whether it's soothing or not soothing. Like during hot weather, during cold weather. That's why in our temperate country or tropical country, we have a tendency to on the air conditioning so that we can bring the temperature and humidity down so that we can feel more refreshed tactilely. That sensation can be perceived. Then apart from feeling and perception, what else can our mind do? Our mind can think, can develop mental intention, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome. Our mind can also think, create mental formation, create mental intention or volition. And there are many other things that the mind can do. In fact, it can also arise the respective mind states, whether you are peaceful, calm, angry, or agitated, restless. All these are the various mind states. And these mind states, they are called mental sensation or mental states, which normal people are not able to be aware of. But we are stirred and conditioned into all these mental states. That's why when there is fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation. So normally from fear it triggers worry and anxiety. Without fear, you don't go and worry on. You don't develop anxiety on. It's always fear. Fear of what? Fear of the unknown. Fear of dying. Fear of losing your loved one. Fear of losing your job. Fear of things not going the way you want it to be. When things don't go your way, you develop unhappiness or you develop fear. Then when you project your thought, you also develop fear. Fear of the unknown, fear of things that may not be favorable. So fear is a deep-rooted mind state. That's why from fear, your mind becomes restless through worry, anxiety, and these are mental hindrances. So without fear, all these mental hindrances does not arise. But what are these mental states? If you are mindful, aware when you meditate, you can see its movement. How the mind is conditioned into fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation. That's how when you meditate correctly, when you know how to relax, maintain awareness, you develop the inner peace, inner calmness, inner awareness, leading to all the tranquility of mind, stillness of mind, peacefulness of mind. Then when you are mindful, aware, sati takes over. Sati is a silent mind. Then you can realize your true mind, your pure awareness nature within. So all these are the various mind states. Then there are other things that the mind can do. All the planning, scheming, cunningness, including what they call mind activity that can manifest. In fact, this aggregate of mind, the Buddha called it sankhara. Sankhara, there are 5 or 6 equivalent English words. And even after you combine all, you still cannot completely define what sankhara is. In fact, sankhara is everything your mind can do, including feeling and perception. That's why in the Abhidhamma, when you study, they always tell you there are 52 mind states or mental states or sankhara concomitant. So this sankhara, in fact, consists of the first 3 aggregate of Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara. And we call these 3 the content of consciousness. Because within the content where you input, these 3 are there. The last aggregate of mind is you have to inquire what else your mind can do. Our mind can also become conscious. Conscious of what we see, hear, smell, taste, tactile feel and think. So consciousness is vijnana. That is the last aggregate, 4th aggregate. And vijnana is basically termed as the receptacle that receive the content. Because like the Buddha's explanation, when he teach the 18th sense rhyme, he said upon contact, like the physics experiment, our physics experiment, the example and analogy is given by me. But the Buddha said in the seeing, or hearing, or smell, taste, tactile and thought process, there is only the respective consciousness that arises. That's why in the seeing, there is only that seeing consciousness. It's like the physics experiment. When you on the switch, the light bulb lights up. The lighting up is synonymous to one becoming conscious. That's why in the moment of seeing, there is only that consciousness, no one to see. That's why the Buddha said in the seeing, there is only the seeing consciousness, no one to see. It's just a consciousness before the content go in. But the moment the content go in, then it forms the whole formation of thought, which the Buddha called the five aggregates of form and mind, or the citta. So citta is actually the thought, the receptacle, the pure awareness. Basically, our true mind is spacious awareness. This spacious awareness is a nature. It's just aware. It cannot think, it cannot do anything. It's just that nature. But from there, the content of consciousness can arise. And once you put your content of consciousness in, within a small space that you perceive through your senses, then it triggers off the arising of the thought, the five aggregates of form and mind, the second aspect. So when you shrink the spacious awareness to a small space where you perceive something, that small space, before you introduce the content, is just pure consciousness or awareness. But the moment you introduce the content, it triggers off and forms a thought. And this thought is unending. We are human beings, think a lot, living beings, think a lot. And thought with its mental content, the moral causation, created what we call karma, the karmic movement. So this karmic movement become a very powerful movement. We call it the law of karma, one of the pancha niyama, which is very powerful. That's why within the five pancha niyama, the universal order that governs life and existence, the first two are scientific law. The Buddha called it Uttu Niyama, followed by Bija Niyama. Uttu means the physical law of nature, physical order of nature. Then Bija Niyama is the biological order of nature. These two are scientific law. Then the other three are spiritual law. And the most powerful spiritual law is the law of karma. That's why that one is the first spiritual law of karma. And this one you have to understand it. Yes, every living being, we are born of our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of our karma. That's why you have to take care of karma. And the advice of the Buddha come about through understanding this law of karma. Then the next second spiritual law is the law of mind, how we operate and function as a human being. We are the dwelling of paticca samuppada, or ita pajjata, the dwelling of mental activity and causation. So the moral causation that evolve through our wrong view and right view are very important, determine determinant of consciousness, whether it's moral or immoral. That's why in Pali, under Abhidhamma, they call it kusala and akusala chitta. Kusala are wholesome mental states or mental states. Means wholesome thought. Then akusala are unwholesome, that has the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. So the Buddha realized, because of this law of karma, every time we arise our thought, our consciousness, we input the content, the trigger of the moral causation. This is what the law of karma is. And this is how living beings got entangled into suffering, misery, before you develop the enlightenment and the awakening. So the 5 ways to overcome unwholesome thought, as taught by the Buddha, is to allow us to have the mindfulness, to undertake the training, to abstain from doing certain things. So that when you are mindful, aware, you can see the content of consciousness, whether it's wholesome or unwholesome. When the evil roots of sakayaditi is there, it will condition wrong thought. Your self-delusion will condition the belief of a being, an atta, an ego, or a personality within. And it will condition us to grasp at the so-called human being, the 5 aggregates of form and mind. This grasping is the result of the belief that this is a permanent, unchanging entity and is what you are. That's why from there, the ego manifests and created the evil roots of greed and hatred. So greed is basically called term lobha in Pali. Because when you believe you exist, you will develop the selfishness, the desire to own things, to have things, to possess things. That's why possessiveness, covetousness, craving, desire, all this, they manifest. And these are the evil roots of greed. And greed is not just greediness. In fact, all your selfish intent is a form of greed. All your craving, possessiveness is a form of greed. Then whatever you want to own, possess, have control over, or have power over, these are all manifested from the evil roots of greed, or we call lobha. And because of that personality, when there is something that you don't like, the negative craving, you develop the aversion, the anger, the hatred, the dislike. So all your envy, jealousy, hatred, anger, violence, they manifest as the evil roots of hatred. In Pali, it's called dosa, or equivalent to the Malay word. Dosa means you do wrong thing. Then finally, the third evil root is sakayaditi, or self-delusion. That's why without sakayaditi, there is no greed and hatred. But greed and hatred will follow when there is sakayaditi. Then sakayaditi also conditions what we call the fear, the worry, the anxiety, the insecurity, the phobia, or whatever mind state that lead to restlessness of mind, where scarcity will arise, all this deluded thought that carries what they call that delusion. In Pali is called moha. Moha. And moha is different from avijja. In fact, moha is very powerful. It's a very major wrong view, wrong thought. So when you cling on to the five aggregate of form and mind, whether it is the first aspect as a human being, for our case, or the second aspect as a thought, where the thought that don't have the wisdom is always egoic. And the egoic mind, the egoic content, will always create the evil roots of greed, hatred, with the base of scarcity behind, self-delusion. So these three evil roots, if you are mindful, you are aware, then you know that this is the wrong thought. That's why instead of teaching you like what the Theravada traditional teaching is to teach you what constitutes right thought. But they never really teach you what constitutes wrong thought. In fact, to me, based on my understanding, it's more important to recognize wrong thought than only wholesome thought. So of course the easy way will be whatever thought that has the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion is wrong thought. Or your selfish thought, or your deluded thought, all of your envy, jealousy, hatred, all this you have to contemplate, reflect. Then under the second turning, inquire what constitutes wrong thought. So I summarize it in a very good way for you all. Whatever thought that condition your fear, your worry, your anxiety, your sorrow, your lamentation, your mental and physical suffering, even your selfishness, your greediness, your emotion, your phobia, insecurity, all these are wrong thoughts. That's why the other way to summarize it is, whenever you are not peaceful and not happy, the wrong thought is there. If you don't have wrong thought, you will be very peaceful. You will be very happy, where there is no negativity of mind state. So going back to the notes, how to overcome the wrong thought? 5 ways. So the Buddha said, the first way and second way are thought-based. So his advice is to think of the direct opposite, wholesome thought, to abandon the unwholesome thought. Because the Buddha understands living being can only do one thing at a time. If you have unwholesome thought and wrong thought, then the only way to abandon it is to think of the direct opposite, wholesome thought, like anger. When anger is there, the only way you can break it is not to be angry. So the opposite direct wholesome thought is what? To have love, metta. That's why to overcome anger and hatred, you have to develop loving kindness. Then, in order to overcome cruelty, you have to develop compassion, kindness, pleasantness, gentleness. Then, in order to overcome fear, worry, anxiety, you have to develop the opposite wholesome thought, which is faith, saddha, in the Buddha in his teaching. Then when there is lust, you have to cultivate the opposite wholesome thought of contentment. All this is a skillful means to help you overcome unwholesome thought, because the basis is you can only do one thing at a time. When you have metta, you cannot get angry. When you have compassion, you cannot be cruel. So similarly, all the other unwholesome, what we call thought, you can develop the understanding to actually abandon it. So under the Noble Eightfold Path teaching, you have the four right effort. So the first right effort is very important. The right effort to abandon the unwholesome thought that has arisen. So how to abandon it? These 5 ways, they are taught by the Buddha. But the first 2 are thought-based, helpful in a certain sense, but it cannot completely help you root out all the negative tendency. In fact, they are thought-based, that's why it's not a permanent fix. It's not a permanent solution. It can temporarily maybe suppress it or help you avoid the wrong thought. But you cannot root it out. That's why I call it thought-based, not awareness-based, through wisdom, through understanding. So the first way is to think of a direct opposite, wholesome thought. So this is basing on the remark, teaching you how to arise the right thought. So this one is taught under the 4 right effort also. The first right effort, like I say, right effort to abandon. That one is under any of the 5 ways. Especially the 3rd and the 4th way, which is the meditative way, which I will go through later. Then the second right effort is to prevent, the right effort to prevent the arising of the wrong thought. This one you cannot do until you have the initial wisdom, yoniso manasikara, developed. When you have developed the yoniso manasikara, born of first turning, second turning, the initial wisdom, or even the 3rd turning, then you can do it. You can at the moment of sense experience, instead of spontaneously stir and react through habitual tendency and wrong view, you actually develop the right view through yoniso manasikara, which is Dhamma understanding at the moment of sense experience. Manasikara is the moment of contact, the moment of sense experience. Yoniso is wisdom at the moment of sense experience. So this wisdom can allow you to actually spontaneously develop the understanding to free. That's why the unwholesome thought cannot arise. The right effort to prevent it from arising become possible. Like when you see the sankhara creating suffering, misery, then you recall the teaching after contemplation or after meditative understanding. Then you realize from the first turning, second turning, or for some even the 3rd turning, you realize that this what we call yoniso manasikara as taught by the Buddha is to understand what sankhara is. That's why finally when you understand, the Buddha actually asked the monk to recite almost every day in the morning chanting. Sankhara anicca, sankhara anatta. Then sabbe sankhara anicca. All sankhara are impermanent, dependent originating. They come and they go. Then sabbe sankhara dukkha. All sankhara, if you attach, cling and want things your way, then it will lead to suffering. So once you understand this, after you contemplate, reflect, inquire, or after your meditation take off, after your insight in the phenomena, then the meaning becomes very deep, very clear, very stable. Then sabbe sankhara anichang means all sankhara impermanent, dependent originality, not a permanent and changing entity. Then you realize a lot of things not worth thinking, because they are impermanent. It will lead to suffering when you attach and cling. Then sabbe sankhara dukkhang. Then you realize no amount of thinking can solve your problem, can solve your whatever spiritual, psychological problem. So straight away the mind does not hold or entangle itself anymore. It liberates. Then sabbe dhamma anatta means they are all not real, empty nature of existence, not a permanent unchanging entity. The sakkayaditi break free. That's why that stanza, sabbe sankhara anicang, sabbe sankhara dukkhang, sabbe dhamma anatta, you have to contemplate, reflect, and develop the meditative understanding until you insight into phenomena and awaken to their three universal characteristics. Then straight away that unwholesome thought cannot arise, but spontaneously this will prompt you. Then the other wisdom understanding that I have shared with you all. The world is the world, people are just the way they are. So when you recall that understanding, then you can be at peace with all life situations, with all people. They are just the way they are. Deluded people do deluded things. Selfish people do selfish things. Angry people, violent people do angry things and violent things. They are just the way they are. Then you don't label them as wrong, not correct. All these dualities cease. We can just accept them for what they are. And the world is the world means conditional that things will like that, cannot be otherwise. That's why the acceptance is wisdom, true understanding. Then after that, the Buddha taught us the third right effort. The third right effort is to arise the unarisen wholesome thought. That one is part of the Noble Eightfold Path cultivation under the four right effort. This one is to do wholesomeness, goodness. That's why I think of the direct opposite wholesome thought is to do this. Then after you have started developing the third right effort, then you start to cultivate metta, compassion, karuna, then equanimity, and also sympathetic joy. That's why we rejoice, to counter jealousy, envy, etc. Then after that, the fourth right effort is to refine, the right effort to refine upon and perfect all the wholesome thought that you have arisen or cultivated. So this first way is to do good. Then second way is to reflect and contemplate upon the danger and grave consequence of holding on to such unwholesome thought, because they are the three evil roots of all evil that can bring about karmic negativity and suffering. Then we have to arise the right effort to abandon this unwholesome thought. So how do we abandon this unwholesome thought? Again, that 5 ways. Of course, the first right effort to abandon the unwholesome thought that has arisen is, before your mindfulness have the initial wisdom, you realize, you got angry already. There is fear in you already. There is jealousy, hatred in you. But they have already arisen as a startup. And then, of course, you can still abandon it. We are first two-way thought-based. Think of direct opposite wholesome thought, or reflect on the danger of holding on to this wrong thought. They will make you evil and condition your karmic negativity. Your life, is that what you want? If that is not what you want, then take care of karma. Do not arise anymore karmic negativity. That's why the Buddha's advice is to cultivate the precepts. You undertake the training rule to mindfully observe the precept. That training rule is mindfulness, awareness. When you can abstain from killing, of course you have to reflect and contemplate who killed and what killed. People who kill are violent people, deluded people, selfish people. The three evil roots are all there. Then this other precept is the same. Who steal and misappropriate people's possession, or take things that doesn't belong to you, or who commit sexual misconduct, and who lie, who deceive, cheat, then who heedlessly partake in intoxicant drugs and other things that lower the consciousness. That's why all the 5 precepts, when you reflect, contemplate, you will understand. So under this, what we call second way to think of the grave consequence or danger of holding on to all this wrong thought that has the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion, is very powerful, because you straight away know that this is not right. It will make me evil and cause all the karmic negativity and suffering. If that is not what you want, then you must determine to abandon it through the first right effort, means any of the 5 ways. Then the second right effort means to develop the initial wisdom to prevent the unwholesome thought from arising in the future. That is how you avoid evil or all evil. The third way is the most important. This one is meditative. That's why I say just silence your mind to develop the stability of inner awareness or mindfulness. So silencing the mind is the wisdom way. The third way means to realize the true mind. So this third way is to train the mind by deconditioning it from the heedless thinking and grasping at sense experience. How do you do it? By just being silent and aware without any thought. The mind will settle down on its own and return to its original state of inner peace, inner stillness and awareness. Means it will realize its true mind. So you can do it either by using the 4 support that I've taught you. This is awareness-based meditation. That's why this way is very powerful. The other way is the traditional way, where people cannot make their mind peaceful or calm. The free mind, they always think a lot, wanders off, trigger off. It is heedless. So they need something to hold the mind. That's why they come up with methods and techniques to control the mind, to actually anchor the mind. So instead of developing mindfulness, most of them develop all the wrong thought-based instruction to focus, to concentrate, to fix. That's why they do one-pointedness, meditation and all those things, instead of awareness-based meditation. So the understanding is, the moment you are silent, you will come to know that all the emotional negativity that has the 3 evil roots and mental hindrances, they are merely conditioned arising mind state, and they are never you. There is anger, is never you. Fear is never you. So the moment you are silent, without thought, then you realize they slow down and return to its original state, which is tranquility and stillness. Means all this mind state of fear, anger, and mental movement or stirring, they are the result of lack of understanding. You think anger is you think fear is you. That's why you try to fight it. You try to suppress it, control it. We are not wanting it. So it's a negative craving. Craving not to be. And all this can never lead to wisdom and awakening. That's why the second point is the understanding and acceptance of the reality of all conditions arising, sensation and emotion at the moment of sense experience, without any reaction or stirring of mind, can lead to profound wisdom. That's why you just maintain awareness. Whatever emotion or mental state arise, if fear arises, you maintain awareness. Stay with it, be with it, and let it cease. Just like what J. Krishnamurti has shared. He said the very flowering of that emotion or that thought is the very ending of that thought. That's why thought will cease. And it will settle down and return to its original mind state of inner peace and inner stillness or tranquility, inner mindfulness. So all this, when you understand, is purification of mind. So the third way is just silencing your mind through awareness. Let things be. That's why relax, maintain awareness. That allow the mindfulness or awareness to stabilize. Don't do anything. Then the fourth way is to trace the origination factor, then retrospectively reverse it via wisdom. And this is the wisdom way to add on to the third way, to complement it, to free the mind. That is using the silent mind to trace the origination factor of the negative thought or mind state, and then reverse it retrospectively via straightening one's view. How do we trace the origination factor of the wrong thought? When fear arises, anger arises, hatred arises, selfishness arises, especially anger and fear. How do you trace? It's always through our senses. Either when you see something you don't like, or you develop the fear, or you hear something, or you recall through memory your phobia, your fear, your insecurity, or things that remind you through memory of past phobia or anger. So all this can stir your mind and trigger off the emotion. So when you can trace that origination factor, then you know it's either through one of your senses, seeing, hearing, or recall through memory. The smell and taste are not so dangerous. Tactile maybe, but also not so dangerous. The most dangerous one is through what you see, what you hear, and what you recall through memory. These three, mind though. And when you trace the origination factor, then you can retrospectively reverse it. So let's say when you see somebody you don't like, or you recall through memory, then you develop the anger, the hatred, or the fear. Then you ask yourself, why did you react and stir your mind this way? Because you don't have right view. You cannot accept them for what they are. You cannot accept what you see. You perceive whatever you see through negativity. You perceive whatever you hear through negativity. There is no wisdom to accept them for what they are, to accept the world for what it is. That's why the lack of wisdom can lead to this stirring of the mind, reaction to sense experience, that condition one's karmic negativity, suffering, and misery. So when you see all this, then you reflect and contemplate. How can I not stir and react to what I see, what I hear, and what I recall through memory or any other senses? You need to have the wisdom to develop the acceptance via the direct seeing or the essential Dhamma that the Buddha has taught us. He has always said, we live in a world of condition arising phenomena, dependent originating phenomena. So whatever that arise, like the Buddha said, there are causes and conditions behind. And these causes and conditions, he has already explained to us, mainly karmic. So if you understand this, then you can understand the teaching. Means the reality within the moment, if condition already set, causes and condition, then the movement in that direction is fixed. That is the reality, what is, suchness. It cannot be otherwise. So if you want things your way, which is not in accordance with nature's law, then you suffer. That will wake you up. Then you realize that the world is the world. Condition like that, things will be like that. Thing is just the way it is. Cannot be otherwise. So this wisdom, when it arises and stabilizes, it becomes very powerful. Then it applies to human being or living being too. They are just the way they are. Deluded people do deluded things. Selfish people do selfish things. Oh, the time up already. Okay, I have to rush it a bit. Then finally, selfish people do selfish things. So if they are just the way they are, why should you stir your mind? Why should you get angry and develop the unnecessary fear? Accept them for what they are and be at peace. And the moment you have this understanding, you can retrospectively reverse all this wrong thought or wrong view through straightening your view, to accept them for what they are, to accept the world as they are. That's why see things as they are. Then the next point is train the cultivator to develop the true understanding via mindfulness of the 6 internal and 6 external sense bases, which we call it Dhammanupassana practice, to arise the 3 turning wisdom of Bhavana, third turning wisdom of Bhavana Maya Panya. So this one is to trace the origination factor through this cultivation, Dhammanupassana practice, mindfulness of the 6 internal sense bases and 6 external sense bases. That's why I say when you are mindful, you can trace this all, the origination factor. Then you can develop the wisdom to straighten your view, to reverse all this. Okay, then finally, tracing the origination factor of mental states. So mindfulness of the 5 mental hindrances, you can follow the Dhammanupassana. There are 5 categories of practice, remember. The first one is mindfulness of the 5 mental hindrances, then mindfulness of the 5 aggregates of form and mind. See how they arise, usually through the 3 major senses or sense door of seeing, hearing, and thinking or recall through memory. Then retrospectively reverse it via wisdom, like what I have shared with you all, to understand how the arisen mental hindrance cease to be by just being aware. No need to do anything. Then to counter the mental hindrance, we are cultivating the 5 spiritual faculty, the opposite 5 spiritual faculty of Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya, cultivated to straighten one's view. Then mindfulness of the 5 mental aggregates of form and mind. See how the 5 mental aggregate comes to be. Their condition arising phenomena, hence impermanent, suffering, and non-self or empty nature. Let's see how you deludedly grasp, cling, and attach and give meaning to them via your own sakayaditi and self-delusion. Okay, next part. Mindfulness of 6 internal senses. When you have understood what the 5 aggregates of form and mind are, you have developed a stable sati. And you have developed a stable sati to be aware of them. Then you can trace the origination factor via the mindfulness of the 6 external and 6 internal sense bases to see clearly how the external sense data upon contact with mind and their respective internal sense bases trigger off sense door consciousness and its related mental activity via the 12 link of Paticca Samuppada. Let's see how due to wrong view you stir your mind. Your mind stirs easily. When you contemplate and reflect, you will realize that if you don't do anything via wrong view, via right view, to see things as they are, it will naturally cease to be. So, silent the mind, no need to do. When thought ceases, awareness is there. Without thought, you are naturally aware. Then mindfulness, the third way is mindfulness of the 7 factors of enlightenment. This one is in the Satipatthana Sutta. Then mindfulness of the 4 noble truths. That's why total there are 5 categories of practices. Then reversing it retrospectively means the key here is the silent mind. A silent mind can trace all the origination factor, means sati or mindfulness, to develop the much needed wisdom, which is yoniso manasikara, or wise attention at the moment of sense experience, to retrospectively reverse it via wisdom. As per Satipatthana Sutta, you will come to know how the unarisen factors or mental hindrance come to be. Then you will come to understand how the arisen factors or mental hindrance is to be. That ends the 4th way. The 5th way is not important. The Buddha says after teaching all the first 4 you still cannot do. You have to do it yourself with teeth clenched and tongue pressed against the palate. One should, with one's mind restrained, root out the unwholesome thought, and in doing so, this evil and unwholesome thought of greed, hatred, and delusion will dissolve, and the mind will inwardly become settled and calm, composed and concentrated. So sure determination via a very strong will power to abandon the unwholesome thought. So this 5th way is for people who cannot do the first 4. Okay, we finish and we stop here. Before we continue with the second session, maybe I just want to make an announcement. We are coming to the end already. I think one more Thursday we will finish off the whole book. So this book has taken us quite a while. Normally it's about 8 months for the full sharing. But through this sharing, most Kayamita can develop better understanding and clearer stability of wisdom or understanding and practices. And this is the intent. Then over the last few years, I think, since the MCO, which is about 5-6 years ago, after we introduced this Heart Sutra sharing, it has helped us a lot actually. There are many Kayamita who actually develop a lot of progress also come about through all this sharing. So what I will do is, after we finish the sharing, which is by next Thursday I think, then we will maybe stop for a few months. So we only left with Tuesday class and Sunday class. Yeah. So this Thursday class, we will stop for at least 3 to 6 months. Yeah. Then after that, we will resume maybe another year, yeah, where we have enough time to actually go into it to prepare you all for the next annual retreat at Sampo Temple. Yeah. So this Heart Sutra sharing, yeah, for new people is very good. Even for older people, yeah, you listen attentively is very different. Every time you listen, you develop new understanding, where the sharing will be slightly different from year to year. Then at the retreat, normally we have our 9 days retreat. Effectively, it's only 8 days, because the last day normally is closing ceremony and the sharing. So effectively, 8 days we have to cover everything. Not only the Heart Sutra, we got a few of these transcript book, including the Bodhisattva Way, etc. And so far, the last 2 years retreat, I think we covered them all. And in fact, we were ahead of schedule. So you can imagine, normal sharing take about 8 to 10 months. We finish in 8 days. So basically, it's not easy to really follow unless you have cultivated, you have developed the understanding. Okay, so with the announcement, we now back to our normal sharing. Second phase, second part, sorry, which is meditation reporting, followed by whatever question you may have.
Amitofo, Bratio,
Yeah,
Mrs. Kyo, and
Amitabha.
all that.
Yeah.
Bratio, can I ask one question?
Can.
Just I always hear Brother Teo say about these chetasikas.
Yeah,
These
Cetasika.
chetasikas is like what I understand is mental factors based on what Brother Teo has
Mental
written.
concomitant or mental states. Cetasika.
And then Brother Teo mentioned 52 of them. So
Yeah.
these 50, and based on what Brother Teo just shared, right? So my understanding is these 52 will comprise of wholesome, unwholesome, and universal
Yeah.
universal
The
factor, right?
universal Cetasika, they are common to all consciousness. Because when consciousness arises, the content itself, yeah, there will be 7 which are universal. Means every consciousness must have them, otherwise they cannot arise. Then these are 7 that are very easy to know. First one is contact, then feeling, then manasikara or attention. Then you have the other, they call it life, life force, or don't know what, in three, don't know what the other Pali word. Then you have what they call there are a few more. Ekagata. One of them is ekagata. I think one-pointedness means they must shrink the conscious spacious awareness to that spot. Then they actually focus on it. That's why they're focusing and all. Are there? These 7 are there with Pasat. Never mind. Pasat is contact, like I mentioned. Then feeling. Then the other one is perception. You will perceive one. Then mental volition is the 5th one. Ekagata is mental volition is the 4th one. Then ekagata is the one-pointedness, which is the 5th. Then the life faculty is called Javi Indriya. Then Manasikara is attention. So attention is before you input the what they call the content of consciousness. If there is no wisdom, no yoniso manasikara, means wisdom at the moment of sense experience, then this so-called consciousness will become immoral. You will have the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. So these 7 universal, which I repeat, contact, all consciousness for it to arise, there must be contact. Then upon contact, feeling will be there. But most of the time, feeling is being stirred. But whether it's stirred or not stirred depends on your wisdom. If there is no wisdom, feeling will not remain as pure feeling. That's why it was stirred. That's why these are called 7 universal. Then there is perception. Definitely there is, whether it's pure perception or deluded perception through wrong view. Then there is cetana, volition. That's why this one is the one that condition karmic. Then there is this ekagata, the mind shrink and focus, means it tries to perceive something within a small circle. That's why we call it thought is limited, because from spacious awareness it shrink to the small space, and you input the content, then everything within that space is what thought is capable of knowing. Whatever outside and beyond, it cannot. That's why thought is limited. It cannot give rise to wisdom. Then the life faculty comes from our life force. This one must be there. That's why the dead person cannot arise consciousness. Then there is this manasikara, means at the moment of attention, means before you input the cetana or volition, based on your conditioning, belief system, content of consciousness. These 7, they are universal. They are present in all consciousness, whether it's mundane or supramundane consciousness. Then under Abhidhamma, you can go and read out these 52 Cetasika. They got different description of them. These are all, whatever that your mind can do is called Cetasika, including feeling and perception. They're all the various mind state, everything. Okay? Poh Cheng, is that clearer?
Yes, Brother Theo.
Sadhu.
With the 7 universal, I am just doing a very simple calculation. If 52, so minus 7, you get 45. So this 45 will comprise all the wholesome and unwholesome, kusala and akusala that Brother Theo mentioned. Something like that.
You just have to know that these 7 universal, they are common to all consciousness. All consciousness must have this. Then from this, it can manifest into others. That's why it depends if you are an Arya or an enlightened being. Then upon contact, feeling can arise, but feeling will remain a pure feeling. Then it will not condition all the negative emotion. That's why they have in the Abhidhamma, whether it's supramundane consciousness or mundane consciousness. I think supramundane, they got a word for it, yukutara. I forgot it. There is a Pali word. Lokutara, I think Lokutara, yeah. Then the other one is the mundane one. Lokiya and Lokutara. So if you are interested, you can go and read it up. They have in the Abhidhamma actually break it down. It's for knowledge. But actually when you understand, Sankara means everything that the mind can do, including feeling and perception, means all the 7 universal and the balance of it. But the balance of it, not necessarily all the balance are there. if it's mundane, then whether it's wholesome or unwholesome, with what you wrote, then it will manifest those appropriate one only. It may not be the complete 52, but the 7 universal is definitely there. Then if it's supramundane, then a lot of the unwholesome one are not there. It's only the wholesome. Yeah. So all this, when you have developed the cultivation, the understanding, then you can read the Abhidhamma and you understand very clearly. This is how it moves inside our content of consciousness. That's why you will see before you develop the wisdom, the awakening, the habitual tendency, the what they call reaction and stirring of mind, the conditioning, the wrong view, the wrong thought. All these are very, very prominent in the normal human being. They call them as Puthujjana. But for those who have gone beyond the Puthujjana, develop enlightenment, they are called Aryas. Aryas are noble ones. So the Aryas, they only have most of the time supramundane consciousness. Very little of those what they call, like if you just Sotapanna shape, first stage of sainthood, Sakadagami, second stage, and even Anagami, third stage, before Arahant. Then the fetters, the 10 fetters, you only root them out gradually. At the Sotapanna stage, it's only the first 3 fetters. Then Sakadagami, second stage of sainthood, you only attenuate anger and sensual desire. And after that, Anagami, you root out sensual desire, you will. Then after that, the last 5 fetters, which is attachment to form and formless jhana, the first 2, 6 and 7. Then 8 is minor conceit. Then 9 is restlessness of mind. Then finally, number 10, the last fetter is avijja itself, the root of ignorance. Ignorant of what? The Four Noble Truths. The essential Dhamma as taught by the Buddha. So these Four Noble Truths are very powerful. So to root out avijja, so that there is no more ignorance of avijja, you have to go beyond sakkaya-ditthi. Sakkaya-ditthi alone, not enough. So, luckily you asked. So at least for those who are interested, you can actually read out for further information. Okay?
Yeah, but actually, by you explaining the 7 universal mental factors as being the common to all consciousness, and from there it manifests for the mundane and super mundane, it kind of give me some good understanding, what Brother Teo is trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you
understanding.
read the Abhidhamma, you cannot understand. Yes,
Yes.
they also can't understand unless they have awakened. So a lot of these author, they use commentary, then they try to add in whatever they believe is correct. But when you have the cultivation developed and your awakening, then you read, you know one, whether they understand or they don't understand. Then whether whatever they write is correct or not correct, you will also know. Then how they use word which doesn't match with the thing. All this you can understand. That's why when I read the Abhidhamma many years ago, after 1989, after I developed the understanding, I was so amazed. How come so easy to understand? Then I even know that the author who wrote it not sure of what this thing is. That's why the compounded problem is the translation to English. So sometimes the translation is not correct. But it is normal because before one develop the wisdom awakening, there is no way you can understand. That's why all this, they need to be like maybe improved on by those who have awakened. Uh, so to me, it's not so important. Uh, I use the word not so important because it's just like what the Buddha mentioned. It's not conducive for the holy life actually. It's like give you more knowledge or what these things are. Then it's like maybe make you more impressive when you teach. Where it's termed the higher teaching, Abhidhamma. But more important is the cultivation, the daily mindfulness. When you develop the daily mindfulness, stability of sati awareness, to see all this via the direct seeing and understand all this, that one is more important, where that one really root out the evil roots, the fetters. So once you develop it, then you realize the cessation of form and mind. You go through the realization of Nibbana. And all these are very useful.
Thank you, Bharatio.
Ah,
Because
sadhu, yeah.
you explaining it, it gave me more clarity, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
on,
yeah, because you asked, that's why there's condition to share.
yeah,
Uh,
yes, yes. So it gave me a lot of clarity of understanding of mundane and supra
yeah, yeah,
mundane.
yeah,
That what
yeah. Then now you go back, you read through the Abhidhamma, then you will understand a lot better. Uh,
yeah, because it opened up my depth of investigation. That
yeah,
what
yeah,
Bharatio
because
said
all these are
matches.
taught in the what they call Theravada tradition, but the Abhidhamma are added after the first and second council. I remember where after the Buddha passed away, then they gather. Uh, the first one is the 500 Arahant, I think, they gather and hold the first council to go through the teaching and all those things. You continue, Poh Cheng. Any more questions?
Not really, Bharatio, because I just want to like clarify something that
Yeah.
brother shared.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that
Luckily you asked, so that
yeah,
we can share this in more detail. Otherwise,
yes, yes,
normally I just go through it by mentioning it. Well, at that
yeah,
time, I remember when I shared the Heart Sutra, somebody asked a question about the Cetasika. There are notes there, but we cannot capture those notes in the Heart Sutra book. We have all those printed notes, we just distribute, then gone. uh, in fact, there were a lot of notes given out at that time, the Heart Sutra, uh, but we didn't really file them or keep them. Then later on, I think uh, by the time I have the book printed and all things, then during the sharing, then sometimes I go through my old file, I saw the notes, but bits and pieces here and there. And a lot after we distribute one, no more left. Uh, some are, I think, in the website, I think. That's why like the one, the blue color one, we managed to extract the four circle formation and the human being. That one was actually a product during that discussion. Then luckily they managed to get that copy out. Then we created that improved version, which is very good.
I, Brother Teo,
So the
Mrs. Teo and all
uh,
community,
uh,
don't know what to say, but I'm surprised I'm recovering very well from this influence.
oh, very good, very good.
Yeah,
Sadhu.
now I feel like okay lah, you know,
Much
like
better, huh?
yeah, much better.
Oh, good, good, good.
Uh, Earlier, people were telling me it's worse than COVID lah, and then early, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
one
yeah.
of my colleagues' husband also got it. and she said that she couldn't get up from the bed for 2 weeks.
Oh,
So I was,
so bad, ah.
oh yeah, because he was
This
too
one is
tired.
influenza A, isn't it?
So my father also got it last time. So when I look at him, because he got both COVID and influenza A.
Oh,
So yeah, so influenza A, when I look at him, yeah, it was worse than COVID. COVID was surprised, He, after I think the 4th day, he got up and said, "Hey, I feel okay, I'm going out now." And I couldn't stop him.
wow, sadhu.
He dressed himself up and then he walked out from the house.
Wow. Means the recovery good. Recovery was good.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it
So
depends on one's immune system actually. If your immune system is not so good, others, some is because of karmic. It can actually give them a lot of tough experiences of that disease. That's why some people tell you it worse than COVID. But depend, because COVID also same. The one very mild one, actually most people recover quite easily without much problem. But those that actually develop into very bad cases, wow, they suffer, they really suffer. Then the way they actually help to take out the phlegm or those things are not easy, the COVID case. So it depends on one's immune system and all those things. Good to hear that you are doing well. Now you are so much better.
yeah, much better. So the doctor actually gave me MC for
No wonder you say 1 week.
yeah, another 1 week. Then I was thinking, how because earlier already 1 week, now
Never
another
mind
week.
lah. Take another week lah.
有我的丢炒友啊，because
Lah, your doctor medication, no problem. This is valid medical testimony.
yeah, valid but I know lah because the bosses they will have their KPI to chase lah.
You tell them blessing in disguise. Otherwise, I don't have time to rest.
Yeah, it is true. I can rest.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
you feel very good. Actually, 2 weeks of good rest. Very good, very good. Sadhu.
When the doctor told me, I was like, huh? I got that
But the
then
doctor damn good. What did he do? Blood test.
there's a clinic, low clinic in Sipak. Yeah, now it's taken over by a young doctor, but Dr. Low himself is still there. Like he's 87, I think, or 80.
Wow.
No, he's 85. Yeah, but he still goes to the clinic like twice a week.
Very good. Sipak.
Very good.
Which part of Sipak?
Sipak, near the market.
Near the market. Is it facing the road where they sell fruits on? Fruit?
No, not that road. The other one. Same road with there's one restaurant called Kopitiam called Cha Yuan.
Cha Yuan, I know. Oh, that road. Yeah.
Only a few shops away.
Oh, good. At least we know. So now the young doctor also there.
The young doctor, she also have a diploma in geriatric lah. So last time also I brought my.
Oh, no wonder. Means good doctor now. Because for a GP to detect this influenza A is not easy one. No.
Yeah, she did 2 tests. She took a swab on my nose for COVID, and then she took some blood and put into some machine.
Same day the result come out.
15 minutes.
Wow, so fast. Wow, not bad. That doctor.
But it cost 500. She said, never mind lah, your office pay.
Worth it. Yeah, worth it. Because if they can detect this, actually, I think all those major problems arise because undetected. So you don't know what is going on. Then by the time they know, normally it's too late already. So for this case, I think it's very good. Of course, it's not cheap, but it's worth it because to detect that type of, we call it the serious disease, it's worth it actually. Means they must have that machine. Well, 15 minutes he can tell you.
Yeah, 15 minutes. Both
Then what he
the
advise you? How he treat you?
So she said I must uh, stay separate from my family members. I
Yeah,
wish.
yeah, yeah. Isolate yourself. Put on the
Yeah.
mask and all things.
And then she kind of give me antibiotics and also another pill for that
That influenza
influenza
A.
A lah. And then
Very good.
Panadol a lot she gave me. And then I guess she saw the shock on my face. Then
Yeah,
she said,
yeah.
yeah, actually, this one can cure one, you don't worry.
Oh, very good. Means this doctor very good.
Yeah, oh, yeah, okay lah. But my father a bit complain because he thinks that we charge him quite high.
Unreasonable charges.
The thing is not because my father is very frugal. So I
Yeah. Correct. The old
yeah,
people is like that, like my mother lah. Very
yes, very
frugal.
very frugal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
They are of that generation, that actually they were born during the era. Everything is still very poor during that time. Yeah, like my father lah. And my father advice to me was very good. He said, initially you have to live frugally, he said, until you really make your money. Then no need to be frugal, he shared with me. Which I understand. That's why my father went through tough time. That time was 1920. I think your father also maybe later a bit. So all this they go through, they know. Because not easy that time. Before the World War II, 1920 something. My father was 1920 something. So during that time, I think life was tough. But according to my mother, coming out of China already blessing. It's like a heaven, coming out to a heavenly plane when he reached Malaysia. Yeah, it's in Malaysia very good. Food abundant, the soil, the rain, the weather, everything is so conducive, very easy to live and survive here. She's full of joy. Very good, Sadhu.
yeah, rather. So when I was recovering, after I recovered, it's just that night. That means the same night I took the medicine. It was quite bad lah. But after a while, I can feel that it turned, and I become much better, much better.
Yeah. Luckily, the medication helps. That's why early detection is very important. Otherwise, they don't know what medicine to give to you. What are your symptoms? You just sneeze or what?
At first, it felt like I'm having fever lah. But when I
Oh,
touch myself, I don't feel the
yes.
heat. It's just like I feel it inside. So that's why I thought maybe if I just work from home for 2 days, it will go away lah. And then after that, I start coughing.
Oh,
Uh,
that's why
and
luckily the GP was good.
uh,
Actually, for GP to detect this is a very good GP.
uh,
General practitioner normally they don't know one. Yeah, this one need to be admitted to specialist center. Then only
oh,
they do the test.
and she also have one machine last time where you can take a sample of urine and she
Oh,
can test whether there's bacteria inside quite fast also within
oh,
like a few
yeah,
minutes.
that's very good. Wow, that
Ah,
clinic not bad.
not bad. She
Yeah.
brought a lot of technology and change to that clinic lah.
Yeah. Means they follow technology. Uh,
Yeah, because
uh,
Doctor Ray is quite old
correct,
already.
correct, correct.
And,
It's
yeah.
just like Sui, they all share with me. Because he took my wife to a new optometrist. This optometry very young one. But they got very good machine, no? They can straight away test and make your lenses everything. Then they can even tell you whether you got cataract or not. No?
Oh,
My wife say no cataract yet. Oh,
wow.
the machine very good. But if you do and don't change the lens or let them make some money, then they charge you a nominal fees. That's why now with the technology, it's worth it. Now, not like the traditional optometrists. I use the circular glass. Put in one, take out, then put in another one, take out, then rotate, flip here, flip there. Now, no need, it's the computer read, automatic. And straight away ask you which one is clearer. Then
Brother,
after
where
that,
is this shop?
ah,
Where is this optometrist?
oh, outside my house, Tomo
Oh.
Vision. And very
Tomo
cheap,
Vision.
Last time my wife went, the other one recommend multifocal everything. Then the whole thing, the multifocal glasses and what they call frame, almost 2008, no. This one, frame and that one, lens, only 388. No. Not
Multifocal.
multifocal lah. Just normal lens. You know why or not? Because those who went for this cataract operation or this thing, I heard from our brother Chan, I think. Because he got no problem, no. After that, immediately can drive around. And the others one that do have problem on all multifocal, no. Oh, because when they do the cataract, or is it LISEC or don't know what, they do the laser on the eye on. A lot of them have problem now, they told me. Night vision, cannot drive and all those things. But this one, monofocal one, no multifocal one, oh, he said, he's okay. He said he recover very fast. Then I checked. Actually, no need multifocal. Actually, multifocal maybe make life more convenient. Where you can read near, you have to adjust. Then you can see far. But for me, I've been using monofocal for very long. I only make the reading glass. So I find it very easy. Then the cost also so much cheaper. Because the multifocal, it seems, the cost of the lens is not cheap. They got various quality,
I made one multifocal a few years ago. It was quite pricey at 4,000 plus with
wow.
The one that turn color, what you call that?
Photogray.
With that as well, so maybe that's why.
Oh, my wife also photogray, multifocal, but about total 2008 like that.
But now the Tun Hussein on, the doctor told me that if I want to just, look for reading classes, I can just go to any pharmacy.
Yeah.
And they will have a few and you can try and then you can just buy.
That one very cheap, off the shelf. But if you have what they call astigmatism, then you better ask them to fix you a proper one. Like mine, I got astigmatism. Actually, it's still cheap. Reading glass is very cheap. But they include the astigmatism, which is quite cheap. So you need to make sure you get a proper one. Otherwise, if you don't have astigmatism, then it's okay. You can go to the shop that sell all this lao hua, they call it.
Reading glasses.
Reading glasses. Then whatever that suit you, you wear, you can use one, which is true. But for reading glass, if you have astigmatism, if they check, you better ask them to do together. I have this, what they call, the reading glass don't have photogray, but the reading glass can cut off UV radiation and all those things. But the one I wear for normal vision, outdoor one, that one I make sure I put photogray. That's why so far so good. It has protected my eye very well. My wife also has been using it. Very good. Sadhu. Okay, I think Manya, we had to end. Thank you for the good information and sharing. So let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Also, Poh Cheng's good question and condition. We should also rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now we will share merit, transfer merit, then we end. Akasata cha bhumata Devanaga Mahindika Punyang Tang Anumoditwa Chirang Rakantu Loka Sasana Etta Wata Chamehi Sampadan Punya Sampadan Sabbe Deva Anumodantu Sabba Sampati Siddhya Idang Menya Tinang Hotu Sukhita Hontu Nyatayo Idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Idang menya tinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo. Devo asatu kalina sasa sampati hetu cha Vito bhavatu loko cha Raja bhavatu dhammiko. Imina punyang kamena Mami bala samagamo Sattang samagamo hotu Yawa nivana patiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, now you can pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Guanyin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.